One gymnast, 4 Olympics, 7 golds. A billion-dollar question: is Simone Biles on track to become the world's first billionaire gymnast? Let's find out what's really happening behind the medals. From gymnastics legend to global icon, Simone Biles didn't just win medals, she redefined what people thought was possible in gymnastics. From the moment she burst onto the scene, it was clear she was on a different level. She didn't just outperform the competition, she made moves so difficult that judges had to create new scoring rules. The Yurchenko double pike vault, for example, hadn't even been attempted by a female gymnast in international competition before Simone landed it clean. That kind of risk, done with her level of precision, turned her into more than just a champion. It made her a symbol of athletic boundary pushing. What makes her story resonate even more is how grounded it feels. Simone was raised by her grandparents in Texas after her biological mother struggled with addiction. She started gymnastics in daycare, flipping off furniture before anyone realized her talent needed a real outlet. There's something relatable in that origin. No huge advantage, no perfect system, just talent meeting opportunity and a lot of hard work. Over the years, she became more than just the face of USA gymnastics. After the Larry Nassar scandal rocked the sport, Simone didn't stay silent. She spoke out, even when it meant criticizing the organization that once celebrated her. That took a different kind of strength, one not scored by judges, but felt by millions who had watched from the sidelines. And despite the pressure, the injuries, and the mental toll, she kept coming back. Not because she had to, but because she still had something to prove to herself, not anyone else. Her withdrawal from several events during the Tokyo Olympics to protect her mental health wasn't the end of her story. It shifted the narrative. Suddenly, people weren't just talking about medals, they were talking about mental wellness in sports. And that's something most athletes, regardless of their level, could relate to. Beyond the medals and routines, Simone's influence began to extend into the business world. Strategic brand partnerships and endorsements. After dominating gymnastics for over a decade, Simone Biles did something very few athletes, let alone gymnasts, have managed to do. She turned her name into a powerful business asset. In 2021, she made a widely discussed decision to leave Nike, a brand she'd worked with for years, and signed with Athleta, a women-focused activewear company owned by Gap Inc. The move wasn't just about clothing or money, it was about message. Biles said she felt Athleta gave her a stronger voice and supported the kind of work she wanted to do off the mat, especially with young girls. It wasn't a standard athlete-sponsor deal, it included custom product development and backing for community-focused initiatives. In the short term, it was a financial win. Long term, it gave her more control over how her image is used and what she stands for, but Athleta is just one piece of the picture. Biles has also landed endorsement deals with major names like Visa, Uber Eats, and Masterclass. Each of these brands ties into different parts of her identity. Visa reflects her global reach as an Olympian. Uber Eats taps into her pop culture status. Her ad with Jonathan Van Ness went viral, and Masterclass positions her as more than an athlete, someone with experience and insight to teach. These deals don't come by accident, they're carefully chosen. And more importantly, they're consistent with the personal brand Biles has built. Strong, relatable, and unapologetically herself. By 2023, Forbes estimated that Biles had earned over $7 million that year, most of it from sponsorships rather than competition. It's a shift you see more often now with elite athletes, less reliance on prize money, more focus on aligning with companies that reflect their values and offer long-term equity or creative input. While endorsements have significantly boosted her income, Simone's entrepreneurial spirit doesn't stop there. Real estate ventures and personal investments. Simone Biles has done what many athletes hope to do, turn short-term success into long-term stability. While she's earned millions from endorsements with companies like Athleta and Visa, she hasn't just parked that money in flashy purchases. She's been buying and building property, primarily in Texas, where she grew up and still lives. One of the more talked about projects is the custom home she's been building with her husband Jonathan Owens in spring. It's not a small project, it includes a pool, a home theater, and enough space to host family and friends comfortably. But it's also not just for show. This is where she plans to settle, and it reflects the same kind of calculated decision-making she's brought to her career. She's not just buying homes to live in either. Simone reportedly owns multiple properties in the Houston area. That's not unusual for high-earning athletes, but what makes it interesting is how quietly she's gone about it. There's no real estate brand tied to her name, no social media posts hyping it, just a steady approach to growing wealth in a way that isn't dependent on the next endorsement deal or appearance fee. It's real equity, literally and financially, in her home state. What makes this strategy smart is its simplicity. Real estate in Texas, especially near Houston, has remained relatively stable compared to more volatile coastal markets. Biles could have gone the route of buying condos in Miami or penthouses in LA, but she's kept things close to where she grew up. That says something about her priorities. She's building comfort and security, not chasing the celebrity lifestyle. Even the home she's building with Owens feels more like a long-term foundation than a showpiece. It's big, sure, but it's not outrageous. It's the kind of space someone chooses when they're thinking years ahead about family, privacy, and peace of mind. Simone's investments reflect her commitment to building a stable future, but her ventures also extend into the culinary world. Culinary endeavors and business expansion. Simone Biles knows what it means to take a risk, and not just in the gym. In 2025, she stepped into an entirely new space by opening a restaurant inside George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. It's called Taste of Gold, a name that plays off her Olympic legacy, but also signals a kind of personal stamp. This isn't just a licensing deal where she lent her name and walked away. Biles partnered with the Playmakers Group, a company known for developing athlete-driven hospitality ventures, to help shape the concept from the ground up. The idea was simple, but smart. Create a menu that reflects Biles' favorite dishes and bring a little comfort and flavor to travelers passing through Houston, a city she's long called home. It's a move that makes sense if you think about how often travelers look for familiar names when choosing where to eat in an airport. Simone's name carries both recognition and a kind of trust. And with more athletes looking to diversify how they earn money after their competitive careers, getting into the food and hospitality space is becoming a real option, especially when done with the right team behind it. Unlike most celebrity restaurants dropped into tourist districts or luxury malls, Taste of Gold aims for something different. The location isn't just about visibility, it's about accessibility. Every kind of person walks through an airport, from business travelers to families, and Biles wanted a space that didn't feel elite or out of touch. From what's been shared so far, the focus is on meals that reflect comfort, familiarity, and a bit of Simone's personality, foods she actually enjoys. It's a small but intentional expansion into a space that most people wouldn't expect from a gymnast. And yet, it fits. Simone isn't chasing trends, she's planting flags in areas she genuinely connects with, whether that's through food, fashion, or something else entirely. While her business ventures flourish, Simone remains deeply committed to giving back to the community. Philanthropy and advocacy. Simone Biles has never kept quiet about her past, and that honesty has shaped the kind of work she chooses to support off the mat. Before she became a household name, she spent part of her early childhood in foster care, an experience that left a mark and gave her a personal connection to kids growing up in unstable situations. That's why, when she lends her name or time to a cause, it often points back to one goal: helping children who need consistent support. She works with Friends of the Children, a national nonprofit that provides long-term, one-on-one mentorship to kids in foster care and other high-risk environments. The idea isn't just to step in for a moment, but to stick with a child for years, through school, setbacks, and growing up. It's a kind of steady guidance that Simone has said she wishes more kids could count on, especially those without a stable home life. What makes her support of this group more than just symbolic is how involved she is. She doesn't just show up for photos, she speaks on panels, shares her story, and uses her platform to get people to actually care. Her philanthropy also shows up in how she handles public conversation. She talks about mental health, but not as an abstract issue. She's open about her own struggles, including the pressure of elite competition and the trauma she experienced as a survivor of sexual abuse within USA Gymnastics. She's used her visibility to keep those institutions accountable, even when doing so meant facing criticism or pushback. It's not performative, it's personal. She's not trying to fix everything at once. Instead, she puts her energy into things she understands, kids in tough situations, systems that fail people, and the kind of support that can make a difference when everything else falls apart. It's a quiet kind of advocacy, but one that carries weight precisely because it doesn't feel like a publicity move. Simone's commitment to empowerment also extends into the media landscape. Media presence and storytelling. Simone Biles hasn't just been making headlines, she's been helping write them. After years of being the subject of documentaries and interviews, she's now stepped behind the camera too, shaping how her own story gets told. One major step in that direction was her Netflix docuseries Simone Biles Rising, which gave fans something they rarely get from public figures: quiet, unfiltered moments. It shows the pressure, the uncertainty, and the choices she faced after stepping back during the Tokyo Olympics. The series isn't just about gymnastics, it's about identity, mental health, and what it means to make decisions that aren't always popular. It's not unusual for elite athletes to get media deals, but Simone's approach is different. She's not just letting companies license her name, she's sitting at the table as a creative voice. In 2023, she joined Religion of Sports, a media company co-founded by Tom Brady and filmmaker Gautam Chopra. They're known for creating stories that go beyond the scoreboard, films and series that explore the human side of sport. Biles came on as both a creative partner and a board member, signaling that this isn't just a temporary gig or a branding move, it's a place where she can help shape narratives about athletes in a way that feels real, not scripted. She's also appeared in several televised specials, including NBC's coverage of national competitions, where her commentary and presence continue to draw in viewers. But even outside of traditional formats, Biles is active in using social platforms like Instagram and TikTok to share day-to-day life, training sessions, behind-the-scenes looks at her business projects, and even just moments with her family. For her audience, especially young women, it sends a message. You don't have to choose between strength and vulnerability. Storytelling, for Biles, is another way of competing, but this time it's not about medals. It's about making space for the truth and connecting with people who may never set foot in a gym, but still understand what it means to be under pressure and keep going. Despite her numerous ventures, Simone's personal life remains a cornerstone of her journey: personal life and balance. Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens tied the knot in April 2023, and since then their relationship has become one of the few constants in two very public, very demanding careers. Owens, a professional football player who was with the Green Bay Packers at the time, has his own packed schedule of practices, games, and media obligations. Biles, even when not competing, is juggling endorsements, public appearances, and training. But somehow, they figured out how to show up for each other consistently, even when the rest of life doesn't slow down. Their relationship doesn't feel performative. You see it in how they support each other without trying to outshine the other. When Owens made the move to Green Bay, Biles didn't post a long speech. She simply said she was proud. When Simone returned to competition, he showed up courtside, cheering her on quietly, no need for the spotlight. That kind of steady presence matters, especially when both people are used to being in the public eye. They've also been open about navigating marriage while managing distance and schedules. In interviews, they talk about FaceTime and flights and the challenge of syncing time zones. It's not glamorous, but it's real. They're doing what a lot of couples do, figuring it out as they go, with some added pressure from being recognizable faces. At home, they seem to value normalcy. Simone has posted clips of them walking their dogs, cooking together, or lounging on the couch. Reminder that even in the middle of high-stakes careers, creating moments that feel calm and familiar is a choice. And that kind of environment gives her space to breathe, something she's said is essential after everything she's been through, publicly and privately. Their marriage isn't the centerpiece of Simone's identity, but it clearly plays a grounding role. It's the day-to-day part of life that doesn't need to be about medals, press, or public opinion. And in a world that often wants athletes to perform not just in sport but in their personal lives, that kind of balance is rare. Looking ahead, Simone's trajectory continues to ascend, with potential ventures on the horizon. Personal life and balance. Simone Biles has spent much of her life in the spotlight, first as a teenage phenom, then as an Olympic icon, and now as a businesswoman and public figure. But in April 2023, her life took on a new shape when she married Jonathan Owens, a safety in the NFL who at the time played for the Green Bay Packers. The wedding was private and personal, followed by a second celebration with family and friends in Cabo. It wasn't the kind of celebrity event that made headlines for being over the top. It felt more grounded, more focused on the relationship than the spectacle. Their marriage added another layer to Simone's post-Olympic life, one that isn't built around medals or media appearances, but around the reality of two people trying to make things work while both carry intense schedules. Owens is on the road through the NFL season, and Biles continues to juggle business deals, media work, and gym time. Still, they've made a point of showing up for each other. Biles has been seen cheering at Packers games, and Owens frequently shows support for Simone's ventures on social media. In interviews, they've both talked about how important it is to stay grounded, how regular moments like cooking dinner at home or walking their dog mean more than any endorsement deal. What stands out most is that their relationship doesn't seem curated for public approval. Simone has always been fairly private when it comes to personal matters, so when she does share parts of her life online, an anniversary post, a vacation clip, or just a goofy moment with Jonathan, it feels real. In a world that often expects public figures to have every part of their life monetized or managed, Biles and Owens keep part of theirs just for themselves. And maybe that's what gives her the foundation to keep building, because even as her public empire grows, there's something steady at home. Looking ahead, Simone's trajectory continues to ascend, with potential ventures on the horizon. Could Simone Biles be on the path to becoming the first billionaire gymnast? Leave your thoughts in the comments.